I can't remember how old I was when I first became aware of the big question, because in my memory I've always been aware of it. From as long as I can remember, being alive has felt profoundly mysterious, strange even. That we're here, that I'm here. So I felt as a little boy like I was in the middle of this huge question, this gigantic, what is it, and why is it, and what should I do with it, and why is there suffering and death, and all those questions, all wrapped up into this big one, which is, I still wake up with it every morning, actually. There it is again. It's here now. And I think as a little boy it amazed me, as it still does, actually, that all the grown-ups were in some sort of coma where they were all pretending they knew what life is, where it was perfectly obvious to me they didn't know what life is. And there was this huge question, and everyone was going about their business as if it was nothing. So the root of everything in my life, I think, is the big question. That I am alive, and that I'm alive with other people, and I'm on this journey. And I don't know when that started, but I know roughly when I first encountered the big answer. Because I'd had a feeling all along that the question this big, there must be an answer this big to match it. And I first found that when I was about 12, maybe 13. And I was sitting on this hill overlooking this sleepy town in Somerset in the West Country of England, watching all these grown-ups rushing around as if life was just about the most trivial of things. And something happened. Something happened for the very first time, something which I've been exploring ever since. And the way I think about it now is there was a shift in my state of consciousness. I went from being awake to what I call being deep awake. And at the time, it would be lovely if you could go back, wouldn't it? Because at the time, I think I had no idea what was happening. Absolutely none. All I knew was that something really significant had happened. And what marked it out was a whole lot of things which all kind of fitted together into one thing. It was very much a unified thing. Was that there was a shift, and I was like a waking up. It was just, I felt like I'd been asleep. So that even with my senses, that the colors were just bright. Like I hadn't noticed how amazing green was in the grass, and I hadn't noticed the sound of the birds and how clear it could be. So there was a waking up with the senses, and then there was this profound sense of what I would now call oneness or communion. I'm sure at the time I didn't think of it like that, but I can remember a sense that I was melting in a really sweet way. And then perhaps the most important thing, and the thing which I know was central to me then, because I actually found something I'd written when I was that age, just after the experience, and I'd written it down. This love. Like the whole universe was pulsating with love. Everything was held together by love. And there was this ambiguity where I couldn't tell, was the universe loving Tim, or was I the universe loving Tim? It was kind of, because everything was one. And along with that, and this was the big answer bit, a knowing, this deep knowing, this sense of, well, this is it, and yet I didn't know what it was. I couldn't say it, and it was a seminal moment because I've been exploring this on and off ever since. I've done everything I can to go into that experience again, to take other people into that experience, to mess with my head and just do everything to find what was that shift. And still, when I come to describe what I feel I know in that moment, it sounds so childlike. It sounds really, really naive. I'm a philosopher now because of that moment when I was 12, and a lot of being a philosopher is trying to find something intellectually robust enough to shore up these really childlike intuitions that arose for me for the first time then, and then again and again and again and again, whenever this deep awake state comes. So if I had to say it, it would be this complete conviction, stronger than I have a conviction of anything, that life is good. Underneath it all, despite everything, that what is happening here is good. And that death, despite the appearances, is safe. It's okay. And that what really matters is love. And that came in just instantly the first time I found the big answer. And it's been with me ever since. I don't know that I could survive without it. And a sense that what's happening to us here, strange and mysterious and paradoxical as it is, matters. It's really that something profound is happening. So what my life became about, perhaps it was always about that, was exploring that mystery and helping other people explore that mystery, and then wanting to take people, as I do now, traveling around the world doing it, I'm very lucky to do that, taking people to the deep awake state and watching people, sometimes for the first time, many times actually, with hundreds and hundreds of people for the first time, watching their faces as they experience that big love. When the big love kicks in and you feel it in every pore in your body, just the delight, the relief, like another metaphor which I hear people say, and I definitely felt this when I was young, like coming home, like the biggest surprise I've ever had, and like something so familiar, like I know this, and this is home. This is where I need to be. This is where everything is okay, even when it's not okay. Because it's not like a running away somewhere. It's actually the opposite for me. It's like a coming in. Because of this deep safety, I can actually come in. Because coming in is scary, because life is very scary. So that when I hit this deep awake and there's this knowing, there's a faith in life which allows me to take the risk of living. Even when it's tough, even when I've been in the most awful places with people. Terrible suffering, and I work with people who are dying, and a lot of people I know, I've been with them when they were dying. People I love. And yet that can be there. That love embraces all of it. Whatever it is, it's bigger than it. And that all came from that moment, that first moment, and I've been unpicking it, and what's intriguing to me, thinking back, is the very first thing I did when I was 12 was I came down from this hill and I wrote a play. I still have it. My mum, God bless her, squirreled it away, and I found it the other day. After she died, I found this play, and it was a play about love. And it was a big deal actually in the locality, because I put it on with kids, and it was just kids, and we put it on in the church, because it was the church had been turned into a theatre as well, and it had swearing in, which was controversial with kids and church, and so it got on the news, and it was all quite a big deal, and we sold out. I mean, it was packed. This church was packed, and it was called The Wrong Way, and it was about going through human history, looking at human beings doing things the wrong way, and this constant refrain, coming back to love, coming back to love. And I looked at the last paragraph in that play, and I could have been from one of my books. Now, here I am, 58, all these years later, and I think I've been on this huge journey, and I've matured, and I've grown in wisdom, I hope. And yet, the essence of it was exactly the same. Right there. And I feel that. I feel like I have grown and I have learned, and I can offer people a lot from that experience. I hope that's what I can give. But the essence of the thing that drives me is so simple and so childlike. It was there right from the start. And although the way I'm talking now is completely different than it would have been if I was talking when I was 12, I'm sure, the love, the actual deep awake, that's the same. It's exactly the same. So my feeling from that, the thing which I can bring to the great party of life, is wake up to the mystery and feel the love. Just, it's like throw off the numbness. We're here. This is happening always, even in the really shitty times or the dull times. This amazing thing is happening. This incredible experience is just happening all the time. So for a while I felt like I wanted to slip up behind everyone and go, psst, have you noticed? You don't know what's going on. Because the minute you notice that you don't know what this is, this shift starts to happen. And if you go into it deep enough, there's this deep awake. You wake up from the dream and you're here, and it's magnificent. And we are magnificent. And then when you connect with other people in that magnificence, it's a completely different experience. And the thing which holds all of that together for me is love. Because the love is how the oneness feels. So when I feel the oneness with the universe and the oneness with you, there's the love. So life is good, death is safe. What really matters is love.